All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hourglass Podcast. And you're joining me. I do this every time. Tim and Kareem, my co-host. And we've got a special guest on today, Sam.
Hello.
Who's this person? Sam Wicks.
Yeah, who's Sam Wicks?
The famous Sam Wicks.
The one and only.
What's going on?
Not much.
And the idea behind today is, obviously everyone's probably heard by now the announcement with the IFBB, the new division, the fit model, and interesting name. I'm not too sold on the name, but I like the idea of the division. Really, really awesome. Bringing that, especially at this point. We've kind of recovered from COVID. The industry's growing, and it's a really, really good opportunity for entry-level athletes to sort of start competing and get the experience and really actually say that now. Like, we can say, it's an experience kind of division, I suppose. It's going to be really interesting to see how it develops in the pros as well. What are your ladies' initial thoughts and feelings, like, on this sort of thing? Like, what was your initial reaction, Sam?
To be honest, when they first said new category, I thought it was going to be for the guys. I didn't expect it to be for the girls, so that kind of put a spanner in the works. But then watching it more, it was kind of like, they're bringing back bikini, like what it used to be. Because I would agree with a lot of people that the bikini now is not what bikini was years ago. Like, I remember when I started in IFBB, this is, yonks ago, just talking about that. Like, it did feel like unachievable almost. Like, looking at the girls in the Olympia and being little old Sam, it was kind of like, but what is it going to take to get to that point? So I think bringing in the more realistic look is going to open up for a lot more girls who maybe don't want to risk everything to get to a certain point. So I think it's a good move. I think it's a smart move, especially with other federations already having that entry-level bikini look. So I would say a lot of girls would leave IFBB because they can do the more achievable look in other federations now. So it's a good move, I think. It's a smart move.
Love that. And that's, I guess, like, obviously not the entire reason you moved to FMG, but partly, right? Is like the progression of your physique made more sense for a division that wasn't as hard. Which is we ended up being in athletic, which is a harder division. But this is the whole point of this. Is why I like this new division, is because it is a progression thing, right? And that's why the division and the criteria, I suppose, looks like it's progressed, is because they're judging progressed physiques. And so the natural progression for even someone like you, Sam, moving federations is a harder, leaner physique, essentially, because you're developing your body. It's harder. It's at that point in your progression, it's harder to keep it softer than it is to keep it, looking lean. So, now we have to eat a lot more than we ever did in prep, and also you've moved into a division that's athletic, bikini athletic, which is harder and leaner than regular bikini. So, kind of the same sort of thing, but you went in reverse and then went forwards.
Yeah, many other reasons why I left, but I would agree with that 100%.
Yep. What would the other reasons be?
For why I left?
Yeah, I like the tough questions.
I know, like, the number one for me was because I didn't get to pose the way that I wanted to pose. And that's no, bad say on IFBB at all. I loved IFBB posing. I just didn't get to express myself the way that I wanted to. So I think for me to move to FMG, it was kind of like the, option when I did it. And then when I got on the FMG stage, WBFF at the time, it was like, I'm home. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I didn't feel out of place. But that was probably the main reason why I left.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's good. And I think that's something we want to touch on today, is like finding your place in the industry. And I think this division gives another place, right? It's another place for people to be competitive without it being against their values or what they want to achieve with their bodies. Like, it doesn't put you in a criteria that you may not want to achieve, and then you have to go to some other federation to achieve it. Kareem, initial thoughts?
Yeah, I really love the idea. I think it'll bring, like Sam was saying, like a lot more people to the sport. I think a lot of athletes get really put off. There's a big stigma around like how crazy IFBB is and how much you have to sacrifice in terms of like health and lifestyle, and there's so many other things that go into it. So I think having a new entry level and a new standard for what IFBB could look like for a lot of people, would be really good, you know, because everyone can still slot into their place, like how they're built, their genetics, what their lifestyle looks like, and can still be able to say that they're an IFBB competitor without feeling so out of place.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring back those vibes. I don't know if you guys remember, well, you probably haven't been to shows back in 2011. Maybe not. I don't know. Did you guys go to shows back then? No, probably not.
Young.
But I
was a baby.
The IFBB shows, like I probably wasn't going to shows in 2011, but I started going in 2012, 2013. And I did my first IFBB show in 2014. The vibes in bikini back then was crazy. Like, it was just, it didn't have the same, like, obviously I love it now and I love how it's progressed. But it just seemed more like a party. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed more fun. I don't know, like if I was a competitor, more like FMG, more like that old sort of production value thing. It was less about the physiques, I suppose, and people didn't really understand, or most people didn't really understand what they were looking at on stage, but it just seemed like more fun than it became, and obviously it became more serious, you know, which is, I don't think it's a problem. It's great, like you said, Sam, but it's interesting to see how the shows go now with much more competitors, whether they split it over 2 days, whether they have I think they said they're not doing crossovers, so you know that could keep it shorter. But you're talking about another full division, which is usually the fullest division anyway. So you're looking at another 25% on top of the run time, right? So going to be interesting to see how they go. I wonder if they're going to do that in Australia next year. Sorry. What about from a posing perspective? Sorry.
I think it's really cool that we can still see the sport evolve so much, even today, you know, and I reckon back in the day when bikini got introduced and people were kind of oh, how's this going to go? I feel like we're in that same boat now. We're where's this going to go? I'm keen to see it unfold, which is a cool place to be within the sport.
Yeah, it's sort of pioneering from in a weird perspective. We're seeing it change, and in 50 years they'll be they changed that back in 2024, you know, and we're all grey and we're yeah, I remember that. it's like we were there when the bikini changed, you know. What about from a posing perspective? I know you probably played around with that today. I saw something you posted, Kareem.
Yeah.
Kareem and Sam, posing experts. What do you think about the, you know, I guess from a expert perspective, what's going to change? What are we looking for? What's the biggest difference there between the two categories?
Do you want to?
You can go, Kareem.
Okay.
Don't fight over it. Don't fight over it. Plenty of time.
Yeah, no, I love the I've actually always been a pretty big fan of the old school stallion pose. I think it's kind of sick. It's a cool, I don't know, it's a very swaggy pose. I don't know if that's the best word for it, but it's just got a lot of presence. It looks very flattering as well. If you you know, that criteria, how they're not as muscly, they're not as crazy conditioned, right? It's very flattering when you have a little bit more to you. Yeah, it makes you pop in all the right places, which is cool. And I think the transitions, I've always had to play around with the stallion pose, so I think the transitions they're pretty similar to what we've got at the moment, but obviously in those poses they're just kind of looking for different things, and I think they do have to change the front pose just to give a very clear differentiation between the two categories to start off with. Which, yeah, I mean, in terms of physique, they've differentiated, but they've done a lot more, with the poses and the suits themselves, different things like that. I think they are trying to make a very clear cut, because bikini has always been a little bit wish-washy. So now with this new category, I think from the get-go, they're this is what we're looking for, and if you're not this, you know, there's no questions asked. It's just going to be that way.
So they're keeping the sparkles off the bikini.
Yeah.
And I think they're only doing a front and back walk in the overalls, I think.
I will say I don't like the no sparkle bit. I don't like that.
Yeah. It's very FMG of you, Sam.
Thank you. I like some sparkle. I like some colour.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that. I think it's almost like a. I heard someone else talk about this today. I think it was Adam Bonilla. Talking about it's almost like a graduation of getting your sparkle in your bikini. It's once you have the physique, you're able to, you can now wear the sparkle. You know, it's like you don't get the sparkle straight away, but then once you got big enough shoulders and glutes, you can bring out the sparkles, and it's all good.
That's so funny.
I like that.
Or just come to FMG and have sparkles straight away.
Yeah. It's literally like, I think like the other thing too is like what this does to IFBB, similar to what they've done in FMG, is like it gives more opportunity. You know, from a coaching perspective, it's great. We were talking about this earlier, Sam, where, you know, we don't have to tell athletes that it's going to take them 4 years now to look like they need to look for IFBB. We can say, okay, you know, this timeline is going to be 12 months. We've got a little surplus, and then most of it's just about conditioning, getting your body healthy. And I also don't think the prep's going to be as long. If someone's in a good position in an off season, you know, we don't need 20 weeks to prep, and they might be able to do multiple shows per year. You know, it's going to be easy to build their career and build their brand or whatever they want to do. And this is something that like federations like FMG already do. You know, you see girls competing in multiple seasons because their bodies aren't overly depleted or anything like that. So I think it's a good move from the IFBB to follow that trend because it's working really well with the FMG. Yeah, zoned out. Did I make a good point and you was like, yeah, I got nothing to follow? Or the biggest thing...
Just let it sink in.
No. I think, but the other thing too, right, is like, from an athlete perspective, you've got a much clearer roadmap ahead of you. You know, you can see, all right, that class is a little softer, you know, there's not as much requirement in terms of development. I can probably do that in my first year or two. And then if I want to take it further, you know, you've got a clear... I still think there's a big gap between bikini and wellness, personally, but there's still a clearer objective, right? You've got, you know, those two levels at the start, and then you've got, you know, if you do progress further and you're one of those crazy athletes that just train so hard that you outgrow bikini, you've got figure or wellness that you can fall into. So I think it's an awesome move, but very interested to see how it plays out. I'm going to bring up some photos. I did a little post on this earlier, and have a look at some of the past winners. Hang on, no, this is the front pose. Okay, so this is back. So the first one here on the left is 2011. So that's the first Olympia winner, bikini, and then you can see like the progression between 2011 and 2024. Obviously now Laura Lee's like considered the standard. I think what's still important to note is like it's still going to be a person dependent thing. It's not sort of like, oh yeah, look at Ash K in 2015. That's what we want to look like. And if I don't look like that, I'm not bikini fit model. Sorry, it feels weird saying fit model. But that if I'm not that, then I'm not fit model. But it's going to come down to filling the criteria still with your body. And the same with posing, and the same with sort of like your presentation and overall, you know, a lot of people say, oh, is it going to be more about beauty? You know what I mean? And it's still going to be IFBB, right? It's still going to be focused on the physique. So, you know, it's not like more of a fit model division like in the FMG. It's still a primarily physique-based judging criteria. So it's still going to come down to, do I fit the criteria with my physique? Not do I look like Ash K, right? Because you can kind of see in the last 4 years, since pretty much Issa won, or even Angelica in 2018, the file at the bottom left, you know, it's not necessarily progressed much since then, but it's definitely become more obvious that development is ideal, right? It's not going backwards. So, I mean, Angelica really set the standard there. And the posing started to change, and they scrapped that front pose, and then, you know, you can really see the development. I think the biggest turning point was Jeanette in 2000. I think it was 2020. It might have been 2020. And I'll bring up the back pose. You can see. Hang on. Screen. I'm slow with this. Here we go. You can see the jump from Issa in 2019 to Jeanette, and then from there it just sort of held that size, developing the glutes. And that's something that sort of like, as the athletes develop and as they become more, you know, our awareness as coaches and athletes has become greater. Our education and understanding of how the body works has developed over time. And these physiques we didn't even know this was possible, right? The way to look like this, we didn't even know that was possible. And so that's kind of the natural progression of things. The judges see better physiques on stage, and they have better physiques to choose from. There's not like, 2015 Ash was turning up on stage in 2025. She wouldn't place at all, right? So it's crazy how that's developed just purely from the athletes developing. And then as a way of like bringing it back, now it's very clear what the criteria is in Fit Model, because you do have this natural progression of performance, bringing the athletes, standard on stage higher. And that's sort of like capped out and maxed out the bikini. I don't think the bikini could be any more developed than it is without it being another criteria. So it's sort of like perfect timing. I think they've nailed it. The really perfect timing with bringing in a different division, now knowing that this is the max that you could look in bikini, and then, okay, this is where we need to be. I think it's going to make, personally, my point, to summarize all that, is it's going to make it much easier to identify where someone fits and what the criteria is, because no one's going to be sort of like turning up soft or less developed, especially in the amateur ranks, if they want to be in bikini. It's going to be like you see in the FMG, where it's just very obvious the difference. I mean, it's obvious to me, probably not obvious to everyone else, but that's another conversation. But you see what I mean? Like, that's kind of why I'm really excited about it, because it makes it easier from a coaching perspective, and also from if you get feedback from the judges, and they say, oh, you'd actually be better off in this division, this is what you've got to work on, or this is what you've got to fix in order to make sure you suit the criteria for this division. It's very easy to see, because you've got winning physiques with softer, less development over here, and then you've got winning physiques with harder, more development over there, and it's just very simple from that point. What do you go? Yeah, I know. Remember that. Right. Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think after
Yeah,
this
no, it's
year,
cool.
we'd get like a lot more clarity just by seeing who takes it and who shows up and what they're looking for in terms of like a physical physique in front of us. Yeah, just like bikini, like that's you look at each year and that's what the standard is. So I think after this first year, it'll be very interesting to see how it pans out and what the criteria looks like today.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the biggest issue in general, right? It's like you see the winning physiques at a particular show doesn't necessarily set the standard, even though that's all you've got to go off for the standard. But it's really crucial to understand what they mean by no etched abs or no visible titans. Like, if you don't understand what these terms mean, you've got to get in the know so that you can judge yourself. Because at the end of the day, like, it's judging isn't the be all and end all of criteria. It's just what they get on the day, And so that's where I hope that the division doesn't develop. It's like they start a new bikini and it just turns back into bikini slowly over time. It's like they just keep pushing the limits, the athletes, because it's the athlete's fault, right? This isn't a judging thing where they're encouraging it. It's like you have athletes pushing and competing and sort of being athletes, and you put them on stage, and the division's going to expand and develop as they develop. It's just simple as that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they cap it. They've done a good job I actually think they've done a good job with FMG and for the bikini. So it'd be interesting to see how they sort of manage this in IFBB and especially in the amateurs too, right? It's like, because like a lot of girls think that, oh, now it's easier, so I don't have to try and I don't have to train hard and don't have to like eat lots of food, and then they come in and it's like, hopefully we don't, you know, obviously as a coach prevent this, but hopefully we don't see a whole bunch of just undeveloped physiques on stage that think that they're the right division because they don't have any muscle. You know what I mean? It's still a solid amount of muscle. You see these girls, I'll share it again.
It's very impressive. It's an impressive physique. It's not something that you can just like go to gym like a month or two and then turn up as. Like, no, you have to have a solid foundation for that physique. It's just not going to take you like 3 years for it. Well, I think it's even just in comparison to what we know now. You know, like back then that would have been like crazy impressive. Everyone would have wanted to look like that. Is that very like beach body like that? Well, I guess that comes back to like what bikini is. It's like that beach body vacay kind of thing.
I just love these front poses, dude. Like, look at that. Just it is a stallion pose. I've never heard it called that before, honestly.
It's so swaggy, isn't it?
It's super stallion, yeah. It's like check out my left leg.
Literally, they're just like sat there, like rocked into it. They know what's up.
It's super cool. I reckon it's going to be great. Yeah, but like you said, it is a well-developed physique. It's an impressive physique. It's not a undeveloped, skinny, over-dieted. You know, like I think that's the crucial thing here. It's gonna enforce this whole, you know, live the lifestyle, look this way all the time type thing. You know, I can guarantee you, because Ash K pretty much looks like she looks all the time now, even with the new like the way the criteria is now. I can imagine this is literally just her chilling. You know, back in 2015, this is just literally her off-season physique. It's like not a lot of difference between 2012 and 2015. Like those middle three photos are all Ash K, and you know, it's not a lot of difference in development, but you've seen she gets a little dry, a little bit harder from the first one, but they still gave her the first place. You know, so it's that's the progression of her. Like, they haven't told her to get tighter. They haven't said, "Oh, get tighter." She already won. So, you know, this is just her turning up in a better condition, and she's the best still. And so that's how it develops. So it's going to be really interesting, man. Like, I'm really excited to see, and also like, you know, coach it too, because it was great when they opened up the athletic. Obviously, not because we suited it straight away, Sam, but like because it was another challenge. You know, it was like different criteria, and that's what the fun is. Like, getting someone to look like something that's set, that's clear. You know, from a posing perspective as well. I'm keen to see your stallion poses.
Yeah.
Let's get some stallion poses. Instagram's going to be full of stallions.
I know. It is cool because you know what, but I've realized, especially this year, just looking at all the shows, a lot of people have sneakily brought it back, like in their posing. I've seen a lot of pros do it where they kind of get like a little bit of snark for it even. So it's cool to see it back, but in its own territory. So it's no longer gonna like have that crossover. Like, you know, you won't see it in bikini, I suppose, like I would assume. But it has been like sneakily brought back. So I like the fact that they've got its own category for it now and they can just hit it and leave it in there. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool.
What is, would you ever do fit model, Kareem?
I think I'm just too big for it. I think honestly, like if I was like in this position like a couple years ago where this category had come out, I'd be like, hell yeah. Well, that's the thing, like even these girls, a lot of them, they say they want to do bikini, they'll train for bikini, and then at some point they'll realize, I don't even want to look like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, bikini is very muscly. It's very muscly, and a lot of people don't realize that they actually don't want to look like that. So this is a great, you know, category for people to look fit, have that goal, achieve that, you know, stage time, but still look the way that they want to and not go overboard with it where they're uncomfortable too.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day. I can't remember who it was now. Sorry, this person. But they were saying how, like, they to a degree, like obviously in the gym, you're wearing gym clothes, you look good, you jack shoulders, whatever. But then go out, try and wear some nice dress or something when you go out. Like, people are going to know you have jack shoulders. Like, it's not something you can hide, you know? Do you girls, like, have that issue? Like, do you feel weird about going out, dressing up, like that sort of thing with that physique? Or do you know what I mean? Is it something you always wanted? Or is it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Is it like what I mean is like the physique, is it a side effect of your goal or is it how you actually want to look? That's interesting.
It's how I want to look, but I realize that it draws a lot of attention. Like, people will come up to you and the first thing they'll say to you is like, "Whoa, how much do you bench?" Like, like that's your whole personality now, you know, because you wear it. It is like, it is you. You know, you can't really get around that. But I love the look personally. I, you know, wouldn't want to look any other way.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
Sam? Yeah. 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 Do you ask them how much they bench? How much do you bench? And then Kareem's like, I don't even touch a bench press.
I haven't touched a bench press in years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the wrong girl.
It's funny. It's funny how people think that because you have muscles, it's from bench pressing. Like, it's like, you know, if I just suddenly do a barbell press, I've got delts. You know what I mean? It's funny what the public, but I think that's why this division is going to be good, is because you're going to have more attention from, like, there was so much hype around when that bikini and when Men's Physique and bikini came in, because it was a model search thing. They had, like, I think it was at one of the Olympias, they had like a model search thing, and they had more people enter that than like it was crazy. Like they had so many people enter this thing to be like flex model search winner or whatever it is, and so they made it into a division. And that was back when, you know, they used to sell magazines. You guys remember magazines? Remember that shit? Like, you know, that people bought magazines. You know, that was mainstream. Now it's not. It's more. I think also if you're like a bodybuilder and you have Instagram and social media and stuff, that's pretty much all you see. You know what I mean? Like, your social media algorithm is like bodybuilding, but for normal people, that's not what their Instagram has on it. You know, they don't have that algorithm code. So if they do find themselves in fit Instagram, they're seeing things that aren't achievable. You know, they're not seeing. I mean, look at Laura Lee, and it's like, how the hell do I look like that? You know. Whereas now, if you see girls in their off season looking like, you know, Ash K from 2013, it's more like, oh wow, she looks amazing. Like, you know, and I think that's why FMG's had so much success with their bikini division. So yeah, it's going to be really cool. Do we have any questions, Kareem?
I've got so many questions. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to go through my Instagram ones first, and then I'll go through my NGL ones. Okay, so someone asks, is this for both NPC natural and IFBB, or only IFBB but equal to NPC bikini?
It's NPC.
Yeah,
it's just all NPC.
It's just, I think it's because, like, Australians, we've always known it as IFBB Pro League, but the league, like the federation itself, is the NPC, so it would be across all seasons.
The only reason they called it IFBB Pro League in Australia was because they had IFBB, and then they split, went IFBB Elite and IFBB Pro League. So we never had NPC in Australia. So NPC is technically IFBB, but in Australia, our sort of like feeder amateur division, or whatever it is called IFBB Pro League. It's not actually, you know, it's not actually, you know, anything different. It's just called a different name.
So it will be across all of them.
Yep.
Oh, Sam, this one's kind of for you, I guess. What would be the FMG equivalent to the fit model? Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm-mm. No. Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you look at, I brought this back pose back up again. If you look at file top left, is 2011. 2012 is more like Tani, right? It's more full, less athletic looking than 2015 Ash K, and sort of like then it kind of like downsized a little bit into more 2015 Ash K, but it was sort of like before. I mean, 2011 is not a very good example, but 2012, 2013, 2014, more like rounder, fuller looking, glute sort of bottom heavy type looks. And then it became more balanced, more athletic, and then just went from there. So like that kind of like initial 4 years is like they're trying to figuring out what the hell they wanted to see, and then it just like took off in the other direction. So it would be interesting, like you said, Sam, to see if it does sort of fill out a little bit more, and do they shy away from that more athletic, kind of like just a small bikini athletic, or do they go like full really round muscle bellies and things like that, like they do in bikini, FMG bikini. So it's going to be interesting to see whether it develops or whether it just stays exactly like that.
It is hard. I think Ash K, just in general, her physique is very athletic. Like, she's very broad and she suits being on that like leaner side and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what that criteria will look like on someone else, because it'll probably be a completely different look. Like this whole conversation we've been saying it.
Yeah.
I just want to see it on stage.
This is it. Okay, let me summarize bikini in 10 seconds. This is the criteria, but at the end of the day, it's going to depend who's on stage and what you can do with your body, and just do your best with the physique and the criteria that you have.
Just pray for the best.
Period. Right? So it's funny, like, it's funny to say that, but it's literally the truth. Like, you listen to any feedback Tyler gives, or like any show summaries, like I'll do show summaries, it's the same thing. It's like, you need a little bit more of this, I need a little bit more of that, and you can see here it's slightly different this, slightly different that, but it's not obvious. It's not like in bodybuilding where it's like you just need more chest and you'll win. It's like you need to just, like, maybe you could change it with posing, maybe it's a little bit of fluid there, or it's so small, the changes. And it's all about tricking the eye. Once you convince someone that you are the criteria, they can't stop thinking that. And so, who the hell knows why Ash won 3 years in a row with different back poses, right? Like that, it's like she did all it. Honestly, from 2012, 2013, 14, 15, it just looks like she was 8 weeks out, 6 weeks out, and 4 weeks out. She doesn't look any different, really, right? The same amount of muscle, pretty much. She's just slightly leaner each time. And yeah, so it's going to be really, really cool to see who sort of like fits in there. I'm going to have a lot of conversations with clients, and I already have a few athletes who automatically are looking good for this division.
Yeah.
Next question.
Awesome. Next question. Do they wear a bikini or sports model wear? So they will wear a bikini, like we covered before, but there will not be any bling allowed, and the coverage has to be moderately covered. So no pro cuts, no mini cuts, no Olympian cut. I don't know. I feel like every bikini maker has a different name for it, but it has to have more of like that V shape to the back of it. In the bottom.
I think they're sick of having their content banned on Instagram, because like if you post a rear photo now from IFBB stage with the pro cuts, it's flagged as nudity.
Yeah, I've been shadow banned.
Yeah, so they need to cover the glutes in order to promote themselves. That's literally, I believe that's part of it too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It sucks.
I just want to show the whole glute. Why can't I show my whole glute to the world?
I know, it's just muscles. So someone asks, is it worth switching divisions if you're already on a bikini path already? Yeah.
Depends how developed you are. Yeah. You've had some athletes like that recently, Sam. Same thing. It's like we want them. They want to do IFBB. They don't want to do ICM. They don't want to do FMG. They're set on IFBB, and we have to sort of be honest with them and say, you can do it for the experience, but you're not the required development yet. It's going to take you a lot longer. So you get on stage, but you don't expect a good placing. Whereas now we can just say, look, this is perfect for you. Like I said before, 12 months, a little off season, then prep. So yeah, it's going to be so much easier for people at the beginning. I think if you're downsizing, it's still going to be the same problem, right? Like any, yeah. Really, yeah, it's true. I think also the way in which it's positioned now, especially coming into this new year, we've got the natural shows mid-year. Obviously, if you're already prepping for season A, you're probably not going to be able to change your plans. Maybe it's going to be easier. You don't have to get as lean or something like that. But if you're thinking about prepping at the end of the year, for the end of the year, you're in a better position now to really nail this criteria. So yeah, just have a chat to your coach, have a chat to Sam or myself or Kareem, and we can point you in that direction.
Yep. I like it. Okay, next question. Speaking of criteria, primary differences between amateur bikini, so non-pro level bikini, and fit model physique. We kind of went over that.
Yeah. Hang on, I zoned out. What did you say? I was like thinking about the previous question, and then I zoned out of that question.
Just that's okay. Primary differences between amateur bikini, so non-pro level bikini, and fit model physique. So what are the key differences that we're looking for between these two categories?
Yeah, it's still consistent, amateur to pro. Like the criteria does not change whether you're amateur or pro. It just is a matter of who's on stage. The judges can only judge the physiques that's on stage. So, if no one looks like Laura Lee, it doesn't mean no one wins. It's like you can't judge a criteria. I guess that's not true. There are some federations that do that. They don't give pro cards if you don't look like a pro. But at the same time, in IFBB, it's generally the standard to, base the winning physique off of the best physique on stage rather than whether it fits the criteria. And so that's where it's important as coaches to bring someone in with the right look and understand the criteria. So there shouldn't be a difference between pro and amateur, but there's going to be a very clear difference between the two divisions at both amateur and pros, as long as you understand the criteria. So obviously it's the softer look, less development, no separation, no striations at all, no etched abs. It's like, it's almost just like an 8-week, 9-week out bikini conditioning with way less development. Still balanced, like not asymmetrical, not sort of like FMG where it's a little bit bottom heavy. It's still going to be very balanced and still very muscular, but just you don't have that extra development of someone that is in the bikini division.
Good answer. I like it. Okay, next one. Do we expect this to have the same trajectory as bikini and become more fit and less model? So, do we expect this to evolve just as far as bikini has? I don't think so. I think this is the whole reason why they brought in the new category, so it doesn't evolve and it stays fit to this criteria.
Yep. Because if you have two criteria now, one for the more developed and progressed physiques, and one for the I wouldn't say less progressed, but just like that softer look. As soon as someone doesn't look like this, then they fall into this pool of athletes. It's very easy now. There's no need for people to continue to push the envelope on stage, and then the judges just have to judge that. It's just going to fall now into a different criteria, different division. So it's just going to, the different division is going to catch the people that don't fit into the other one, and that's the benefit of it.
Yeah, this next question as well bridges off from exactly what you were saying. So do you think this will mean bikini gets even bigger / more muscular?
No. It's like the same with, FMG, where they have the bikini athletic, and the people are sort of like, oh, that's like almost like figure or fitness or whatever. It's like, it is if you overdo the development. You still see girls doing that today, like in bikini, but they get marked down for this. So I feel like bikini's reached that max now. They've really pushed the limits with that. The athletes have pushed the limits, and the judges are no longer rewarding size and striations and hardness and all this sort of stuff. There's figure ahead and there's wellness ahead for more development if that's where you want to go. So I don't see it changing from the standard it's been for the last 4 years. Since like I was saying before, since sort of like 2020, 2022, it's pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Thoughts on the non-bling bikini rule?
Well, we were talking about price of bikinis before, Sam. Is the bling the costly part?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe it's just going to be cheaper. That's really it.
And
it's just going to be cheaper for girls to buy one.
I think you can like look at like bikini athletes, and then you can look at fit models and like just know exactly who you're looking at and what they're doing. Like I think that's probably the biggest part of it, where it's just like, this is for this category and this is for that category. Just like how like certain categories have different style suits and things like that. It's just the same. It's just different style.
Yeah, it's not like we got barefoot or something like that. You know what I mean? It's
like sneakers.
Sam's just like, damn it, we got barefoot bikini. That's just a barefoot and no sparkles.
Barefoot Screw bikini.
We're still elegant and feminine. We're just not blinged up. So Sam's just like, may as well be barefoot. I'm done with this.
I'm dying. Stop. You can come to me.
It's true though. I think it is part of the, I always, you see girls who've nailed their look, their hair, the makeup, the bikini, everything, and then that little bit of sparkle on the bikini, just like the finishing touch, right? So it will be interesting to see what those suits look like. I didn't pay as much attention back in 2013 as I do now, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
I wonder if like yeah, I wonder what would happen like if someone turned up with bling, or like if even like the connectors were like too blingy. Like
yeah, for sure.
Or like a shimmer, like a sparkle. Don't put Sam in this category. Okay, so moving on to NGL questions now. Would you say
I got a few of those as well.
Do you want to pause and do yours, or do you want to continue with these ones? Okay, go for it.
Well, one is it's not really a question, but she said, I'm really excited, perfect for smaller girls like myself. And that's kind of what we were saying before. It's just, I think a lot of girls will come back and compete, and I think a lot of girls will compete when they didn't think it was possible. So I think you're going to see a massive boom in numbers, competitive numbers. So it's exciting for me, and it's exciting for you girls as posing coaches, and it's it's exciting in general, I think.
100%.
Next one is, I think they were better off making a category for in between bikini and wellness. Yeah.
Do they mean like a more jacked bikini? Is that what they're like a Valeria type of bikini or something?
I think what she means is,
or like bigger in the lower.
I think once you are bikini, for example, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to stay in bikini and I don't want to do figure because I don't like that look. I want to do wellness. It's a massive gap, right? It's huge. It's a massive. Like you're talking years, right, of training hard, and some girls never actually can even achieve that. So, I think the problem is, like, for example, if someone's wanting to do a criteria that's more development, the issue is then, what would that look like? Would it be, slightly thicker than bikini with slightly, more shoulders, or less shoulders and more like wellness? So it's kind of harder. I definitely think they probably would have thought about doing something like that, but how would you do it? Like, how would you classify it where it's different to wellness but not bikini? So it's almost impossible to do.
I suppose it'd be like almost figure, but with the bikini posing. Because, like, you think about what they've been kind of in these recent years doing with bikini, they've been especially pushing, like, the fullness of it and not so separated. They've really cut back on, like, the separation and things like that. Like, the over-conditioning, they've been like, no, don't want to see it.
They could have done bikini athletic in IFBB and made it just, like, shredded, like, super shredded look.
Yeah, could have.
But then it's like, is that really, like, is that increasing numbers? Is that bringing more people in? Probably not. There's only probably like a handful of girls who would be better for that. Whereas the fit model is like game changer. I feel. For sure.
Agreed. I think the fun of bodybuilding as well, it's about trying to make yourself into a category, It's not just like looking at yourself and being like, oh, where do I fall? It's like, actively trying to make yourself, okay, I want to be wellness. I have to go train for like 5 years. I have to do all these leg extensions for, 5 times a week or something to be wellness. Like, that's the fun of it. You can't just like train what you want to train and then show up.
I had someone say, they should open up a dad bod category. So I don't know. That's probably not too serious, but
the new men's category.
Like that sounds like my category, to be honest. Someone said it's giving ICN vibes. Don't love it. Kind of, almost. I think it's still more development than ICN, though, for sure. Mm. 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 Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's why why you would compete. If you just don't like, if you don't like that sort of look, don't compete in that federation. But I think at the same time, understanding that it isn't ICN vibes, it's IFBB. So the development aspect, like people look at this photo, I'm going to bring it up again and try and zoom in on it. Is let me not screw this up. Careful. Okay, did it work? So if you look at Ash K 2015, this is a pretty muscular girl. Like it's not overly skinny or like depleted or like any of these sort of, you don't see many girls look like this, even on ICN stage. It's a very like well developed physique, and if you saw that in the gym, you'd be like, damn, you know. So I think that's a big misconception, and I think people need to like really truly understand what goes into this. It isn't as developed as bikini, but the bikini, believe it or not, is pretty developed. So when you see girls with real bikini development, you can tell why. You know, it is largely unachievable for most girls. So this is going to make it a lot easier for, not easier, but like, you know, the difference between those two categories becomes much more obvious.
Yeah, completely. I think she only looks small because she's on stage, and like we are just so used to seeing a particular type of like build and shred on stage. But like you said, if you saw her in real life, you'd be like, wow, like she works really hard. Like that's super impressive, you know. And IFBB, it's a very prestigious like federation, you know, like it's. People want to compete in it, so give them like a category to compete in, you know?
The next one that says, it's kind of like weird timing. It says, don't see why people are hating on the growth of the industry when men's physique plus bikini were added for the same reason. All things evolve. Yeah, pretty much sums up what we were saying. It's true. I mean, I think the more people, the more eyes, the more money, the more like popularity, whatever you want to call it, that is on our industry, the more we all benefit. And you know, yeah, I think if you're in the industry and you in the industry, there's like tourists who are just here for a little bit to give it a crack and then leave, and they don't never come back. And then there's people, you know, like us who are in the industry long time, and we plan to be in it for a long time. And this is exciting for us because any expansion in the industry is an opportunity for us. And you know, also, if you love bodybuilding, you're gonna. I mean, it's like I don't sort of like hate any division. You know what I mean? I'd have my preferences, but I don't sort of go, oh yeah, I can't get out of this quick enough because it's bikini. You know what I mean? I want to see certain things more, but then it's still bodybuilding, right?
Yeah, agree completely.
And then my NGL has sent me bot questions like, "Are you single?" and I really like you. So I know that's not questions from people.
It's like, who's the last dude you texted?
Yeah. It's like this love. It's like laughing with you is the best therapy. I'm like, no one said that shit.
Live, laugh,
Come
love.
on, dude. Like, what are you trying to do to me? NGL bots.
That's so funny.
This one. It's always a good time when you're around.
Aww.
Like, really?
Like,
thanks, NGL.
I want to hang out with you more.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
I've got like some more. Now they've all kind of been bridge overs to like what we've been talking about, but there's one. Will we be seeing this category at the Olympia?
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which would be very interesting to see the best of the best in that category. I reckon that would be super cool.
Just Ash K downsizes.
Imagine. And then the rest of them are kind of just is this category going to be more just the natural category? It's almost like incorporating the ICN component into IFBB. Most of the bikini girls that compete naturally and sometimes are a bit smaller will all just move into this category. So I don't know if that's more like a statement or a question.
I think this level of development is still probably going to be unachievable for some girls naturally, right? I don't think that it is just now suddenly a natural division that it's developed for natural women. I think that it's just it's a move from the federation to capture more athletes who have, for some reason or another, left the division because they either don't like the way that it's heading, don't want to do what's required to look that way, or they just don't even bother, competing or trying it because it just seems unachievable. So it's honestly a business move from that perspective, but for our athletes, it's an opportunity to, be competitive without looking jacked in a dress, right? So I don't necessarily think that it's for naturals or for not for enhanced, or like the bikini one's for enhanced only. Like I know some girls who are natural and they're pretty close to wellness development, right? So it's going to come down to your genetics and what you personally need to do to achieve the look. I don't think that it's made it possible for natural girls to do IFBB or anything like that. It's just new criteria, new look, and at the same time, you're going to have different like tasks or requirements for each different athlete to achieve that look.
Yeah, I mean, it's an untested federation. If you're going to compete in an untested federation, you have to accept the fact that a lot of people who you're going to be up against may be on enhancements. So I wouldn't, limit it to just being a natural federation. It's just a different look.
Yep. All right. I got one more here. I think it says the posing seems less complex and makes it easier for people beginning their journey in body. I'm sure they probably didn't have enough room to write bodybuilding. So maybe they... Yeah. That's why I aimed it at you, Sam.
We've both been slowly smiling.
Sorry, I was going to say not unless you're a stallion. Sorry, carry on. All good. Yep.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not an easier option. I wouldn't label it difficulty. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for some people still, and it's going to be very easy for some people still, and that's the case across all divisions.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No. By no means is it easier. Absolutely not. Like Sam was saying, if anything, it's probably harder. Like, there's a lot more variables to control in that front pose, and a lot more angles, a lot more limbs. Like, you have to position in certain places. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited to pose a lot of girls for this category. I've already had so many girls message me, be like, Kareem, do you think this is the category for me? I'm like, oh, let's pop you in a front pose.
Stallion it up.
Yeah. Yes. That's right.
I think that's all I got. I think there's a couple of just rude comments, but I'll leave that. Any more, Kareem? Or is that it?
No, we've just about covered any other questions that I had, so I think that'll do it justice.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's pretty much it from us. Thanks for joining me, ladies, and we'll do another episode soon on maybe the difference between FMG athletic and bikini, bikini athletic and bikini. Yeah. So then we can have Kareem give us the biased IFBB opinion on those.
That's why you should come to IFBB.
Yeah. And then we're gonna do a paid UFC fight between Sam and Kareem.
But it's actually just a pose down.
Yeah. Pose down. Yeah.
I'm just standing there.
It'd be so interesting to see Kareem in FMG poses though.
Oh, I've tried. Sam's seen me try.
And then Sam, I want to see you do the IFBB poses again.
I was thinking that the other day. I haven't seen Sam in an IFBB pose in years.
Yeah. You should just just pop one off and let's have a look. Yeah. It'll just be too quad dominant now. You reckon? I don't know. It's hard to know where the physique's gone in order for that pose, right? Because we don't pose like that. Yeah.
I want to see it. I feel like you could manipulate it.
Yeah. 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 Now Sam sleeps in a hack squat. She sleeps in full knee flexion.
It's new techniques.
Yeah. All right. That's enough sillies. Thanks for listening, guys. If you have, and girls, well, probably no guys, actually. Mostly girls. I don't know. If you're listening and you're a guy, good on you. Well done. But yeah, thanks for listening. And obviously, if you have questions, you want guidance, you want to see where you fit best, shoot us a message. And, we're happy to help. That's why we do this. We just want to help. So for posing or coaching inquiries, shoot us a message and we'll definitely point you in that direction. And we're looking forward to seeing who's sort of going to step up to the plate. Who's going to be the first victim to try this new category? Or who's going to be the first pro in Australia?
Yeah, victim's a bit heavy.
Yeah, victim's probably not the right word. Sorry, guys. Okay, to finish this off. Okay, I already ended the podcast, but I'm going to revive it. Who do you reckon out of the girls who've competed in bikini so far, right, in amateurs, that could do this division and win? Good question, right?
Oh, no. Not going to answer that. That's a crazy question.
Oh, yeah? I don't know.
Maybe we'd have to say it after the pod, off the record.
You know what? How about we do this? Anyone that's listening, if you know someone, comment or something like this.
Like send us a DM on the down
send
low.
us a DM. We want to know, we want to start a conversation. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next podcast. But maybe we won't start naming names. It might upset people thinking that they're less developed or something. But anyway, something to think about. Yeah, you're better off in the softer, smaller division. Yeah, I don't know if that's, but it comes from a place of love, right? Yeah. That's right. Well, it's going to be interesting either way. But anyway, thanks for listening. And please, if you enjoy the podcast, share around, share on the story. We love seeing that sort of stuff. And drop us a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Cheers.
Bye.